Kohler Co. got its founder in Wisconsin in 1873. The company is known for plumbing, kitchen, and bath products. Started by an Austrian immigrant, John Michael Kohler, and his co-partner, I'm not saying his name. Kohler purchased the Sheboygan Unit Iron and Steel Foundry, purchased from Kohler's father-in-law, John. Purchased so that Kohler could do steel and iron for farm furniture castings and ornate pieces for cemeteries. What does that have to do with auto diesel? Absolutely nothing, but we decided to throw it in there. Welcome to the Liquid Dinosaur Show. Today, you got, of course, Doc and Ewok on a very adventure of Kohler. Why are we doing Kohler? Well, because they do gensets. And we have a third host for today, which is the anonymous henchman today. We're going to go right into it. We're going to go all the way to 1920. Who wants to start the 1920?
2020. They introduced the first automatic standby generator and Kohler automatic power and light.
Yeah, that was in 1920.
That's what you said. We're going to start with 1920.
Right. So the reason they did is because they wanted to, at this point, Kohler gave itself a really good reputation of reliability and durability. So they wanted to put that to the test in the small engines manufacturing. That's why we got the first genset, which is just a generator set.
My question would be then, okay, there weren't probably many homes, I don't know, I'm just speculating here, that were, lighting and whatnot like that. So I'm kind of curious here on this, if anyone has anything to throw on that.
Well, my guess would be that they were using them for hospitals.
Oh, good point.
Mainly in emergency situations.
Remote locations, yeah. Remote locations, too.
Would be my guess. Well, what do I know? I'm just some guy on the internet now. I'm just the Ewok on the internet.
Ewoking on the internet?
Yep. We're Ewoking on the internet.
Digitally.
But, Kohler really started getting his reputation in 1929, which our anonymous henchman could have talked about that one.
Yeah, so Richard E. Byrd used basically the generators and went out into like Antarctica and stuff like that and did some exploration, and exploring places obviously where there is no power, which is one of the main reasons why generators kind of made is for military applications, stuff like that as well. Anywhere there can be power, they throw them out there. So there is, because we need a lot of electricity to usually do a lot of work. But yeah, he did a lot of expedition and, for like the North Pole, South Pole, kind of stuff like that, which was pretty cool. And he's pretty decorated in the military as well, which is, something to just, I guess, prove to his record. But yeah.
Come to think about it, back when I was in the military, and not the 1800s, but back then, they were Kohler generators too. The military generators, the little ones, and 1.5s and 3 kWs. And
yep. Yeah, they're pretty small at first.
And now we got huge ones.
They recharge them.
They get massive.
Now, Doc, and our anonymous henchman. 1920, you also had a few other companies starting at this time. Would it be a safe assumption that Kohler got the idea of saying, hey, look, you got a new engine manufacturer for small engines. Let's just see what happens.
There were a lot of them that took off in the 20s and in that era, from 1918 through little rabbit pellet there. A lot of engines that got started back in that era and whatnot.
Well, then, you had a lot of auto manufacturers too that were popping off, and then Ford was working on its assembly line.
Yeah.
So at this point, it would be they probably saw just like what Dodge did in the 30s. They saw an idea for a market, and they decided to jump on it. Which Kohler has a very long history of, hey, let's just see what happens. Let's buy this out.
Yeah, they. And even though we're talking about generators, they were into everything. It seems like they had furniture and like we talked about, the first ones to put enamel on a horse tank to make the bathtub.
What else, Doc? What else did you come up with?
I thought it was neat when our anonymous benefactor here was putting out about the Richard Byrd that it said that they used them for heat, light, and communications, but also for the film trucks and whatnot.
Yeah, film trucks, and then they also used them for their aid station. He had 5 of them.
And
interesting. I didn't know the numbers.
The Antarctica.
Don't worry, I got you.
The Antarctica being frozen and stuff like that, they had to keep them running all the time, I would imagine. Otherwise, they wasn't going to start up.
Prime power, yep.
Well, not necessarily, because he went back in 1933 and the original 5 still worked.
Is that right?
I don't think he left them running for 5 years.
No, I don't either. If he did, he got good gas mileage.
True. Yeah.
Gas mileage. Well, as we learned from our last video, we're kind of...
They make heaters and stuff like that. I don't know what kind of technology they were implementing back then, but, they had heaters and stuff like that to heat stuff up and, warm it up before trying to start it. Because once you got it going, it's a different story. But, yeah, even if it's sat for 5 years, it didn't mean anything deteriorated. They probably just went above and beyond to prepare it to run again.
Yeah, but also Antarctica is, really cold.
Yeah, but if it's an enclosed room, what's really getting to it besides the cold temperatures? So if you warm things up.
Hey,
if it's
that's
out
what
exposed,
kickstarted.
That's a different story. If it's out and exposed, that's a different story.
Their reputation there, sir.
It did, yeah. Their generators, yeah. That was one of the big things, yeah, for all that exploration.
And he brought 7 back with him just in case. But it wasn't just 1933 that kickstarted their reputation. 1931, they started providing gensets and everything for the 1931 Hoover Dam project.
Yes, they did.
And they were credited with pretty much got the MVP reward for that.
Well, also that foundry they met, they purchased it so they could make farm implements and castings for furniture and ornamental pieces for, cemeteries. Yeah, but I want to touch back on it. Because people were dying to get into them things.
It's an important subject, man.
Yeah, people were dying to get into there. Well, they already had a foundry, so they had the opportunity to make molds for engines. That's probably why they did it.
Well, yeah, but I think the biggest reason would have been for the farm, because we know that these engines were across the broad spectrum, right? Wouldn't you think? Because, you're talking about plows and discs and all that other stuff up across the farmland, which we know that in
water pumps, irrigation pumps.
Exactly.
Now we're cooking with we're cooking with Crisco now. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, no bacon fat.
Oh, bacon fat. Bacon sounds good now.
I had mine this morning.
Well, I haven't. Okay. I literally got out of bed, called you, called our announcement henchman.
I already got a day's work in. Hey, another thing that brought back to this was the purchase price of this. What back then 5,000 would have been a lot of money, and we know going forward it's probably to the tune of about $75,000-$80,000 in today's money. That's
still not bad considering.
No, but back then it would have been a lifetime.
Well, Doc, put it in perspective. 80,000 now barely gets you a fairly decent new truck
or a parking spot.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can't even touch a heavy duty truck for $80,000. Not even a used one.
Yeah.
Oh, different rabbit hole. Did I tell you about the rabbit hole I went down last week? I started looking to the more luxury vehicles, like your Ferraris and Lamborghinis. A lot of them start at $200,000, $250,000.
Okay.
And then I looked into dump trucks. You know how much new dump trucks are going for?
Similar pricing?
No, $290,000 to $350,000, depending on which one you get.
So you already justified the dump truck.
So you're saying we should buy a dump truck instead of a Ferrari?
Yeah, you know what's cooler?
He can make money.
Yeah,
He can make money
you know,
off
cool.
of a
You
dump
can
truck.
look. Yeah, you know what's cooler? You go look and you roll up in that bad boy. Just dump a load of dirt on somebody's yard. You'd be a fucking badass.
I'm just saying, man. You're like
Fair enough.
$350,000 for a dump truck, and you can make money off of it. You ain't make money
Right.
off of Ferrari.
It's more of an investment, yeah.
But then I went into the rabbit hole of like farming equipment, like a lot of your big John Deere harvesters and stuff.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, they're like millions of dollars.
And the funny thing
Yeah,
is,
they're getting really hard to work on too.
You can run through the field, get a little bit of oil in it, and catch it on fire and burn it to the ground the first year.
Right. I'm just saying. And even Kohler's got a lot to do with farming.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're at a, there's no rhyme or reason for the prices of some of that stuff.
Hey, I'm just saying, man. Like millions of dollars for a piece of equipment, like a brand new excavator for what I was looking into was $1.5 million.
Yeah.
So if you really want to flex how much money you got, just buy an excavator and just park it.
It is a pretty hard flex. I mean, it's not only like a visual statement, you know, it's a financial statement too.
Just saying.
Well,
fair enough.
I mean, you can put lights all around it.
Right. Well, you know, with Kohler, they make 3-cylinder engines. I'll just start buying them and put them in go-karts.
I bet it'd be pretty fast. It'd be pretty nice.
Did we find out if Kohler puts any of their diesel engines in farm equipment, tractors and whatnot over here, or is it just simply Europe and what?
I'm sure it's just a year. Well, there's this magical 3-letter agency that Doc loves so much that would probably prevent them from doing it.
True that.
I mean, we did find out, which we'll talk about later in the video. I mean, that 3-letter agency did go after Kohler.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we covered pretty much 1920, 1933. 1939 and 1945.
Well, I want to backtrack a little bit because 1933 to 1934 is when he went on his second expedition. Like he did more than one, right? So he was like doing like multiple expeditions.
Yep, 1933 was the second one.
Yeah, and so you know he went through a couple expeditions and stuff like that, and some of his reports and stuff like that were pretty interesting to noteworthy as well. Like kind of ties into one of those conspiracy theories, whatever, about hollow Earth theory and stuff like that. But pretty interesting stuff. At least some of his expeditions and how decorated he was, and what reason he would have to lie, kind of thing. But that's pretty cool. Part of his expeditions into the deep.
But then,
using engines and planes and generators.
And then, we already had that film from that expedition. So, back then when we went back in 1942, we already had a lay of the land.
Well, what film was that? Captain America?
No. Really, dude?
Couldn't resist it.
Noted.
Frozen ice,
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Seriously, I've been around you long enough. I shouldn't see this coming, but I can't. Apparently I don't. We just let Doc do Doc. That's pretty much it. Well, anything else you wanted to add about his 1933 exploration?
No, not too much. I didn't want to get too deep into it. Whatever, some self research is cool too.
Hey, you can get as much as you want into it.
Yeah, no.
We got enough we can chime in on. But we're gonna go back to 1933. Let's talk about the Hoover Dam project in 1931 a little bit more. They had so many Kohler generators that they worked those guys day and night.
Interesting enough, that Hoover Dam incident, the Hoover Dam build and whatnot, was a marvel of its time,
Right.
To do what they did, and then
I'm telling you, man, this is just another proof that people back then were on some other stuff, man.
Hold my beer.
I don't think there's any hold my beer. I think it was hold my whiskey.
Yeah, because it just amazes you what they accomplished in that.
What you're saying is it's amazing what happens, what you can get done when you don't have government agencies always involved.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, these guys were, 100, 200 feet in the air without harnesses, eating lunch on their skyscrapers and everything back then. And the Hoover Dam project, then you got, a running river going into it.
Yeah, and then that little
while constructing this thing, that's insane.
Distance to the fall. If you happen to,
I'd be curious at how many generators they lost in the river.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they had a rigging system though. I mean, probably had attached the ropes and just lifted them and tied them on and just ran cables to it or something, dude. Just let it hang.
Well, you're telling me you don't think there isn't at least one that they lost?
There's no 100% definite in anything. So yeah, they probably lost at least a few.
Hey, can you imagine that conversation?
Well, think of this too, that this was during the Depression.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's
what I forgot about that.
Yeah.
The Depression was 1929 to 1936, wasn't it?
Let me look at this.
Terrible. We're terrible with American history, apparently.
Never claimed to be an expert is all I was saying.
Well, I didn't claim to be an expert about anything, but, this channel's really starting to take shape of that.
29 to 39.
Really? So it wasn't until the Second World War when we got out of it?
Yeah, before the Second
interesting.
War, right in that era.
That makes sense because we were producing and selling all of our goods to the Allied forces. 39. Which is a good tie-in because 1939, 1945, Kohler got the main contract to provide gensets to the armed forces.
Yeah. And then once again, that ties into what we was talking about with this other dude on the, this 1918 to, you know what I mean?
Well, let's not get into that rabbit hole because I will go off on that one too. This one's all about Kohler.
Yeah, but they all tie together.
They do.
It's true.
All right.
Hi guys, it's Jade with Desert Hooligan. I just wanted to introduce myself and Desert Hooligan as my apparel shop. So Desert Hooligan was started back in 2023. It started with me just doing vinyl on shirts and making a few shirts for my husband, and just kind of started there, and it grew into an apparel shop for children and adults today. One thing I love to do is upcycling denim jackets. Upcycling, if you're not familiar, is giving them a second life or repurposing them. I love doing that. We have some really fun ones for the Valentine's season that are in our Western Love collection, is what we call it. So right here we have a really beautiful like chili pepper kind of design. It's got like some fun fringe and a little chili pepper down the side. This one I believe is a 2T paired with a cute little tulle skirt and of course a little cowboy hat. Another one that we have done is a Queen of Hearts kind of vibe black jacket, and also this really cute heart and rhinestone skirt. And then on the back, we have a really cute fringy little Western vibe design. And then one of our best sellers are these really cute cactus pillows. We have tons of them in the works and tons of them in stock at the moment. We just made these for Valentine's for, again, our Western Love collection, with or without fringe. And then we have these cute paisley pillows as well, with or without fringe. And one of my favorite ones that we do often, here's another one of our heart ones. Another pillow style that we do, we're trying to incorporate bigger styles with these instead of just like these little smaller like toss pillows, is our gemstone pillows and our little gemmy pillows. Originally, we did like the Arizona gemstone pillows, which were really fun. There was turquoise, amethyst, there was peridot, opal, tons of really fun ones. And we have some bigger designs coming your way soon. Desert Hooligan is available on Etsy. We have exclusive designs in Screws and Sparkles, which is downtown Buckeye, Arizona. They have some available options online, but honestly, if you're in the area, it's better to go check it out in store. So again, check it out in Buckeye, Arizona. I also have Instagram and Facebook if you want to check us out there. I have tons of new things coming our way that I've announced and I will announce again. Right now, our collection is Western Love, and we do custom designs all the time. I still work with t-shirts and tons of other things like home decor. I love to upcycle. I love to create things also from scratch that aren't necessarily upcycling. So again, if you want to check out Desert Hooligan through Instagram or Facebook, and again, we have an Etsy, and we have a few other platforms in the works right now. But until then, thanks for watching.
Try to bring it up because, like I said, Richard Bird is what we're calling him. In his 2 explorations to Antarctica, we already had landscapes. And then, once that other dude created that snowcat, first of its kind.
Once again, that ties right back in.
He probably was like, yo, Dick, give me that landscape footage.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty interesting videos about some of the audio recording stuff like that, but
I always think with a grain of salt.
I found some, or at least I've seen some, but who knows how legitimate they were, but like just deep diving. But they're pretty cool. At least some of the rumors, at least I've heard, but how much of it's true is hard to confirm.
Well, I couldn't find any of them.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen them. I'd have to dig deep. I'd have to go deep and go find them, but yeah, they were pretty interesting. Like some of the reports, whenever he found green land inside of he was driving and then kind of like lost navigation and kind of like lost control of his airplane on one of his expeditions. And when he lost control and stuff like that, he said he saw green land, stuff like that, and like almost like an ecosystem within. And that's kind of like the Hollow Earth theories. Like he said, he flew into some tunnel system and eventually came out, and there was small ecosystem capable of sustaining itself kind of going on and stuff. But yeah, pretty interesting reports and stuff. If you can find any of his original stuff, his documents and reports.
Who was the guy that did the North Pole exploration?
Santa Claus.
You're related to him?
Nobody knows it better than him.
Yeah, I'm jolly.
You're jolly. Well, all the research I did pretty much indicated that Kohler mainly focused on efficiency and trying to get a smaller package with more bang for its buck and focusing more on a residential.
Yeah.
From 1948 all the way up to current. I mean, going back to notes, 1948, Kohler started a legacy of making small engines. It was meant to expand the product line after World War II.
Yeah, I still can't find how many generators they had there.
Oh, that's easy. So, in World War II?
No, at the dam. I'm still on the dam.
Well, if they started this Genset in 1920, but by 1960, Kohler produced its millionth engine. I think you can kind of guess where most of those went.
Well, that ties in. When they got that contract for 1939, I mean, those numbers probably skyrocketed. Let's be honest. When you get a government contract and you start getting something like that steadily coming in, those numbers are going to climb. Yeah, I mean, like they were doing hospitals, radio communications, light, refrigeration. Like when they started getting that contract,
well, yeah, refrigeration is a big one. I forgot about that.
When they got that contract from the government, their numbers skyrocketed. I guarantee it.
Well, then, a millionth engine by 1960, and we know where 11 of them went was for the Antarctica exploration. So if Richard had 11 of them, I think it's pretty safe to say that probably the dam project had over 1,000 of them.
Well, you stop and think. You're saying by
how long was the construction of it?
1960?
I can find that info. Yeah,
Sorry,
1960
Doc,
when the mill engine is. Doc, look it up. How long was the Hoover Dam project?
Just a minute. The millionth engine, in the 60s, they probably had a mess of them in the military too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, just the amount of areas they were touching in the military, between submarine stuff, I mean, you think about that, like submarines, like it's a great application, for a generator.
And I'd be curious if they were also selling them to the Axis forces too, because Germans loved using backup generators. What?
5 years.
31 to 36?
5 years. 5 years. Yeah, that's a long time. I mean, if you're running generators like nonstop.
And it was completed.
Yeah, they probably cycle through a lot of generators. You run that thing for a year straight, like you're probably running a few of them to offset it, at least the cycle between, let alone the number of the ones you have to maintain constantly.
And they said they completed it 2 years early.
So,
it was supposed to be a 7-year project.
Yeah.
Well, it's all thanks to them Kohler generators, man.
They probably had, a 5-year project like that. I would easily. It had to have been thousands of generators.
It'd take them 5 years now to get a permit.
Yeah, true that.
There's a lot. There's a lot of truth to that.
True that. Yeah, true that.
Holy crap! And you said they completed it 2 years early?
Yeah.
Man, can you imagine the? I don't know. Do you think they got a bonus check out of that?
Boy, I did have to.
Hey, we got a bonus check, but how many Kohler generators did we lose? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It's
overhead's fine. Yeah, overhead's
yeah. I'm curious what the original budget for that would have been.
It was probably pretty nice. That's a big project. Fairly doable, that's for sure.
We get into a lot of these projects and a lot of the really main historical facts, like 1929, and you want to go to Antarctica. What's wrong with you?
It was built for $49 million.
Okay, so $1 billion project. That's a lot of money for 31.
Yeah.
That's an ouchie. So you're telling me they spent millions of dollars in the Great Depression to do the dam project?
Yes, sir.
Huh. Wonder what that calculates to now. Yeah.
Let's do the math on it. Doc, you looking it up?
Quick Google search it. Quick Google search. What's a mil versus today's value?
Well, $10,000 ended up being $180,000 from 1918.
The average wage was $1.25 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, but again, what is it equivalent to nowadays?
$1.25 an hour.
Yeah, but
you're getting your 40-hour week paycheck. You're
during the Depression, even.
$50.
It was during the Depression. Plus,
35.
Mr. Conspiracy Theorist. Think about it this way. So this was 31, right? Yeah. We weren't printing money like we are now, and we were still on the gold standard at that point. So money held its value a lot more than it does nowadays.
The cost today would have been $118,321,000.
That's still an out.
It's huge.
And that was before the permits were issued.
So he bought that permit. I don't think they had a permitting system back then.
Yeah, maybe not as strict, that's for sure. There wasn't a whole lot of in-between middleman fees.
Doc, look it up. When did the permitting system start?
Oh, shit.
You know, there's a conspiracy theory that the railroad track wasn't a non-permitted project. They just went for it.
It'd be possible when you got stuff, you know, and you're like kind of like not really regulating a lot of things and there's no power to do so. You know, like when it was a grab for all, you know, like what they do, they just, after it's settled, they came in and like, all right, cool, we accept, you know, that's just how it is.
Everything had been verbal back then and like verbal and handshake. Well, this looks good. Yeah. I'm going to walk away now. Oh,
by the time somebody rode their horse to go tell somebody to make something happen, you know, like days have passed. it's like
week. You know, depending how far travel is, it could have been like a week easily.
Exactly. And then they get there, and then there's time to get ready because now they've only just heard about this, you know. And then the travel back.
Think about it this way. So, like, let's say horse travel took a week. They go back and tell like whoever's in charge, and like, no, I don't like that idea. So now they got to go back.
They're 3 weeks deep on this railroad.
Yes. Yeah, the boss said he wanted it moved like a mile this way. Too damn bad. We're not moving it.
Yeah, and who knows about labor laws back then? Probably didn't even exist. It was probably 24 hours straight. They're using land.
Well, you did have the Asian American problem for the railroad.
They just cycled out. Yeah, they cycled out people, man. It's probably bad.
Oh, the tap in problem.
Like, all right, you're done for the day. You're done for the day.
Put me in.
Now, also remember that where they were building this, what river was involved?
Colorado River.
Yeah, well, Boulder Canyon Project Act of 1928 authorized the construction of the dam. The act allowed for the creation of agreements and compacts for the construction of dams, powerhouses, and other structures. The act also required the president to appoint a representative to participate in negotiations and report to Congress.
It's totally a pretty important act, like almost like it gave authority over the land or something like that. To alter nature or something. It's kind of weird that was worded. Like to do dams, so like they can change the wildlife. You know, like getting permission to do it.
Rabbit hole, Doc.
What now?
2 rabbit holes. This representative appointee, how much money did he decide to pocket for himself?
Right.
Second one, how much stuff did he tell Congress? There was some tomfoolery going on there. All right, guys, if you pay me this much money, you can do it that way, but I'll just tell Congress. You're putting a guy like that in that much power, you know there had to have been some stuff going on like that. Not saying for sure, this is just speculation. But what
people were more honest back then.
Were they? Were they?
Who knows?
Hey, we weren't around back then. People got in high places in odd ways, unorthodox ways. I mean, we can go down like 5 conspiracy theories just right here, right now. But we're not gonna, because this is gonna turn into a 3-hour video if we do that.
What's the name of that dam I was looking up?
I don't know. The Hoover Dam?
Who do you think was appointed?
Oh, I should know this one. But I don't. You're gonna have to tell me.
Hoover.
President Hoover, yeah?
No, he wasn't president then. Harding was president.
Hey.
What is that?
Wow, and he got it named after him? That's crazy.
That one should have been easy.
All right. I did question it, though. Like, wasn't president?
Yeah, but Doc, Doc does that shit all the time. He did that shit to us in school. Are you sure? Doc's sick, twisted little rabbit holes he likes to do to people. I'm just a mechanic, I swear. I don't know. I'm not a historian. Oh, wait. We're starting to turn into historians really quick.
Yeah, we're getting off on one heck of a rabbit hole away from Kohler, but we're
bro. In 1960, did you know that they made their big number engine? Can you tell me what that number was? That's crazy.
What's engine?
Wow.
We've been talking about that, though.
I know, right? Here we are back on track.
Well, you know, but 1970 is when they wanted to start focusing on clean, safe, and stable power. That was their big kick for the 70s, which led to 1980s, the debut of the power boost technology. And that's when we started getting into bigger generators for Kohler.
Yeah, portable ones too. Started getting little cute ones.
But they were designed for backup power for stadiums and major outside events. Then, of course, we moved to 86, focusing on efficiency, longer longevity, and quieter operation.
If I can, I would say that 1976 is definitely noteworthy because it's just a testament to the technology. Because again, I mean, like during these time gaps, like there's a lot of technology that's changing. So the products are no longer even remotely, necessarily the same. They've kind of changed, like everything that's changing. At the time of technology.
So 1976, you're talking about the fast response alternator, right?
We're talking about microprocessors. Yeah, so you're starting to make pretty big leaps and bounds and capabilities and processing and stuff like that. Reaction, it's pretty cool.
So wouldn't it be safe to say that Kohler was the first one really messing with microprocessors?
I wouldn't make a statement so bold. I don't know well enough to say yes.
Doc? Because, in our last video, we didn't start seeing microprocessors until 91.
Yeah.
And Kohler's doing this in 76?
True.
Yeah, that was a pretty big deal.
Didn't talk.
It was a pretty big deal when you started getting into microprocessors.
Which I'm sure Dodge was doing it way sooner than 91, but I'm not too sure on that. We didn't cover that. Yeah, on the next Dodge video, we will.
Yeah, but the technology change is definitely something that's noteworthy, because the process to start things is changing. You're getting more by wire processing, like fly by wire, stuff like that starting to kick in, which is pretty cool because of the mechanical change of things. But then still use mechanical.
Says that they started the Intel 4004 4-bit in 71.
Wow.
Okay. So yeah, somebody was first, and then everybody started using this for sure. Looks like 76 they processed here, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, but in the Genset world, we know it was Kohler.
In the 70s, we're talking 70s and microprocessors, coming in. That's pretty cool.
In fact, if I remember right, I don't think Cummins even got into Gensets until late 80s, if I remember right.
Well, it'd be before Cummins. Cummins purchased Onan. So it'd be, when did Onan, we're talking
I'm pretty sure it was late 80s. I want to say it was like 88 when they did that.
Yeah.
But, that's the next Cummins video. We'll cover that.
Yeah.
Don't want to go too much to that rabbit hole. But from 86, really, the only thing we see next that was like a big achievement was 95 is when Kohler got the FAA deal. And now we know Kohler generators are the only generators allowed for all the federal aviation. So anything aviation-wise, so like international airports, private airports, all that by FAA law is a Kohler generator, which is that in itself is a hell of an accomplishment.
Exactly.
Yes. So, Mr. Donovan Henchman, how many airports have you had to go fix some Gensets?
Well, that's interesting how you feed my details slowly. Yeah, no. So as far as like generator response and stuff like that, there's definitely plenty of airports that have them. It's usually multiple, like it's kind of like a redundancy thing, to maintain power constantly. And as far as what manufacturer is on there, I mean, that's anybody's guess. But yeah, there's plenty of them. Almost, I think I don't know of many airports that don't have power, to be honest, because of the antennas alone. But
according to the FAA, all airports are required to have a backup generator through Kohler because it is their contract.
Yeah, which is really,
I can't say from my own experience that I've seen any other ones. I do tend to see Kohler at most airports, at least here in my area. Yeah, I don't know about other states and stuff like that. It'd be interesting, but if it says it, I believe it.
Hey, we're just bringing this into you with a quick cut scene. Just want to say welcome to Liquid Dinosaur Show. Thanks for coming. This is Anonymous, and hey, I really appreciate you guys watching the show. It means a lot to us. Like, share, subscribe. And it should honestly make a lot of effort for us. So we really appreciate it. Shows you guys like the content, allows us to make more. So stay tuned.